So in my late 20s and early 30s, I was arrested 13 different times and sentenced to jail time on 3 different occasions. Today I want to tell you the lessons I learned in jail. At the end of this video, I will tell you why I was arrested, the crimes that I committed, but the most important thing are the hard-learned lessons that I learned in jail. You don't have to go to jail to learn what I learned in jail. Welcome back, everyone. I'm David. This is the Mountain Men channel. This is the channel where we try to help good men do great things, first in here, then in our families, then out in the culture. And guys, this nation at this point in the year 2022 is in desperate need for great leadership. It needs men like you who are watching this channel to lay hold of what you have to do to have an impact first on yourself, then in your family, then out in the culture. It desperately needs you. So really what I'm going to be sharing today is 7 leadership lessons that I learned when I was incarcerated in my late 20s and early 30s. And the number one is that we need to cherish our freedoms. You know, when you're in jail, you have no freedom over what time you're going to eat, what you're going to eat. You can't just pick up your cell phone and shoot a text to your sweetie. You know, you get very limited phone call privileges, very limited visitation privileges. If the jail is locked down, if there's any issues there, you might lose those privileges. You're told when to come and go. You have certain jobs you have to do within jail and so forth. And you don't have that freedom. So when you're let out of jail, it's this profound experience. If you've never been imprisoned, you don't realize. So you get out of jail at midnight, by the way. The first minute of your final sentence day, they don't want to feed you all day, they don't want to house you all day. So on 12:01 midnight, you get out of jail. Hopefully your friends and family are there, but you know, you walk out and you realize, I'm free. And you can stop at a restaurant, you can stop at an all-night Walmart, you can buy things that you want. You have your freedom back. And gentlemen, I'm telling you, this nation, we take our freedom for granted. And when I came out of jail on those 3 different occasions, man, the taste of freedom was palpable to me. And it really caused me to be more willing to fight for those freedoms that are really being threatened in this nation. So the first thing I learned was we need to don't take for granted our freedom. Secondly, you'll need to learn to cherish your loved ones. So again, when you're in jail, you can't just pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm on my way home. Can I pick up a loaf of bread? You know, you have very limited contact. You might only see, you might have 1 visitation a week. You might have 2 visitations a week. So if your wife's going to be one of them, maybe the kids are going to be, maybe some other friends, very limited contact. And this can be a long period of time. And so when you get out, you realize, man, I have been taking these relationships for granted as well. So I like to think, my wife and I like to think of, I'm going to love you like I'm going to lose you. And that's the way we need to think every day about our wife, our children, our brothers and sisters, our close relationship. Love each other like you're going to lose them, because you never know when you're going to be able to, when you might just lose that contact with them. So the third thing that I learned when I was in jail that's really served me well the rest of my life was try to be gracious and non-judgmental to other people, because you haven't walked a mile in their shoes. So guys would come and sit on my bunk. We were in a common area because I was, I guess they call me a low security threat. So we were in a common area. There might be 30 or 40 guys in this overall area. And it's like somebody I was a religious leader, and I was a leader in the community. So the guys found out about this. I had been a pastor for a while, and they would come and they would sit on my bunk, and it was like this in-house chaplain kind of thing. And they would tell me their life story, and they would tell me the journey they had been on, and the abuse, the abandonment, the fatherlessness, the pain, the gangs, and all the stuff that they had been through that led them to some wrong decisions, that led them to be incarcerated. And I often ask myself, if I had been on the journey that they had been, would I have even done as well as they did? Maybe not. I'm not sure I would. So I really sensitized my heart to don't judge a book by its cover. Find out about the person and try to relate to them and be non-judgmental. And the 4th thing I learned while I was in jail was that we need to detox. It's an interesting thing. If you're in jail, you're sort of forced to detox from your day job. The psychologists tell us there's at least 2 main levels of detox. And I encourage all, especially if you're in leadership, to do this. So the first level is like 3 days. You begin to get back in touch with who you are outside of your day job. But there's another level at 10 days where you really start to get back in touch with your passions and how you think that you are not your job. You are who you are. You are your giftings. So I encourage men, whether you're in leadership or not, and I hope you aspire to be in leadership, as I always promote on this channel, to detox at least the 3-day. Of course, you can get a 3-day weekend frequently, but a lot of times guys will just jump into intense activity on those long weekends. Take the time to take some 3-day weekends. I would suggest a couple a year where you do very little of anything. If you got a boat, get on the boat. If you got a back deck, sit on the back deck. If you got woods, go for a walk in the woods. If you don't, go for a walk in the park. Take 3 days, a couple times a year, and detox. And then at least once a year, I encourage all men to take a 10-day, so that could be a couple weekends and a full vacation. And again, a lot of people say, gosh, I had to go back to work to rest up for my vacation. I'm not talking about one of those kind of vacations. I'm talking about where you take the time to read, you take the time to meditate, you take the time to walk. You spend a lot of time during those 10 days not checking your email relative to your work, not thinking about projects that you got to get back to when you get back to work, but thinking about you, thinking about your passions, thinking about your family, thinking about what animates you, thinking about what really calls the best out of you. And take that at least once a year, a 10-day detox and a 3-day detox. So guys, the fifth thing that I learned when I was in jail is that you need to subscribe to a channel like this one that will strengthen your manhood and help you be a better leader. No, really, the fifth thing I learned when I was in jail is, and this is really kind of one of my favorite points, is don't wait till you need manliness to work on your manliness. Now, when I got to jail, it appeared to me that about 70 or 80% of the guys were like a lot larger than me and had street cred that I didn't have. And so, you know, I wouldn't want to be an effeminate man in jail, if you know what I mean. So, now I'm not the biggest guy, but I'm fairly sturdy and I can take care of myself. And being a manly man sends a signal to situations that may not escalate to a level of danger that otherwise you may be taken advantage of if you don't have that foundation of manliness. You guys know I preach on this channel physical fitness, being able to run, being able to lift, being able to have some endurance, and I really encourage everybody to take that seriously. Whether you're probably not going to have to go to jail, and you're not going to need that in jail, but you know, what if you come upon a situation where there's a car accident and you need to bust a window or pry open a door or lift somebody and carry, how about a burning building? These kinds of emergencies, I really encourage men, focus on your manliness before you need your manliness. One of the great lessons that I learned when I was in jail, and this is number 6, is to have great respect for authority. I've always tried to have good respect for authority, but I learned this on a deeper level when I was in jail. So one of the guards was Bernie. And Bernie was about 6'6", this mountain of a black man who kind of became one of my. He's just and it wasn't. And he probably went 350 or so, and probably maybe 20% body fat. He was just a mountain of a man, very strong, very big. And he was a super nice guy. He used to also come and sit on my bunk, and we would talk religion and stuff. And everybody in the jail got to know that, hey, David's friend is Bernie. Bernie has taken a liking to David. Don't mess with David because of Bernie. Now, so showing respect for authority is right, it's biblical, it's godly, it's good, but it also has a practical service that if you show respect always for authority, you never know, there might come a day when that person in authority can help you with your mission, whatever that mission is, as we're trying to impact the culture. Now guys, if you watch my videos, any of my other videos, you know I often leave some of the most important items for last. So if you're still hanging in here, here is one of the most important lessons that I learned in jail. Never fear man, always fear God. Here's why. So the Bible says that the fear of man is a trap, but it also says in Proverbs 1 that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. You know, if we believe in a God, and I hope you do, then we have to believe that he has our good at the center. The Bible says that he has our good at the center of his intentions and his will. The Bible says if we fear him, we will find wisdom, we will do things that are wise, and if we fear man, we'll fall into a trap. What does that look like? You make decisions based on the circumstances. Now the Bible says a wise man sees trouble coming and hides himself. I get that. But again, that's all the more reason to fear God, because you're being wise. It's not because you're afraid of what's going to happen to you. It's because you're being wise. So always fear God, never fear man. The fear of man is a trap. It's a snare, the Bible says. So why why was I incarcerated? Why did I go to jail? So in my late 20s and early 30s, I was arrested 13 times for doing civil disobedience, okay? And we called this movement Operation Rescue. And what we did is we would sit in around the doors of abortion clinics, and we would prevent the women and the men from coming in those days, prevent the workers from coming in those days, and we would stop the abortions for those days. Peaceful, nonviolent. Of course, you get arrested for trespassing, and the more that happens, the judge starts to get annoyed that if I don't put this guy in jail, so I was incarcerated once for a short period, once for a medium period, and once for a little bit longer period, and they're trying to get, trying to break you to get you to stop doing that. Now, some of you don't know that about my background, or some of this may be the first time you've ever watched this channel, and that may turn you off, it may turn you on, I don't know, but civil disobedience is a part of our nation's past. And here's the thing, every time you do one of those pro-life Operation Rescue events, a sit-in around the abortion clinic doors, you save lives, because 70% of the women, if they can't get their abortion on the appointed day, they will not ever come back. They will decide to keep that baby, either raise that baby or put that baby out for adoption. So it's a very life-saving, and that's part of my heritage, that's part of who I am, okay? So guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. I always appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't. Give this video a thumbs up if you would. Guys, this nation needs the mountain men. I hope to see you in the next video.